So one of the biggest challenges I had when I was at the Hollywood Roosevelt at the library bar is I had all these kids next door in this club called Teddy's, and what was interesting is the three most common drinks that they kept ordering was a Bloody Mary, a Long Island iced tea, and a dirty martini. And when I saw that happening over month after month, probably for the first 3 months, I think the huge light bulb went off in me, which was really about like, okay, if this is what they're asking for, how can I take these drinks, make them unique to me and my style, get them to fall in love with them, get them to trust me, so therefore they would try my other drinks. So that really was my whole psychology around it. So the dirty martini, I was like, God, this is just olive juice and alcohol, and this is people are going crazy. I said, let me just try to make this a little bit more interesting. So I came up with a stirred dirty martini that I call the Dirty Sicilian. It's in my first book, Eat Your Drink. But today we are going to use, instead of a gin, we're going to use this incredible vodka called Castor e Leone, which is actually made, I'm actually half Greek, half Italian. So this dirty martini is going to be half Greek, half Italian. So we've got a lot of Italian themes, but we're also going to use feta cheese, and we're also going to use this amazing vodka. This vodka is so great because it's so smooth. It's made from grains. It's also distilled from green olives. So there's a nice kind of creamy texture and brightiness to it that's really beautiful. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is I'm not going to use a vermouth. Okay, vermouth, some people use, some people don't. I am going to use a sherry instead. There's all different kinds of sherries. Some are sweet, some are dry. I'm using a Manzanilla sherry. Manzanilla sherry is from the Fino sherry family. It's a dry white wine that's fortified, meaning that they add alcohol into it to up the proof of it. It's obviously made from white grapes. And it's also put through a Solera system. So if you don't know what that is, it's very common with certain sherries. And what it is you have all these kind of a whole stack of barrels. So think of this is the top, this is the bottom of the ground, right? And it starts with a small one. It's kind of like a triangle of barrels. And what it does is it ages and it travels through, some longer than others, travels through all these barrels. And the whole idea is it keeps picking up new and interesting flavors along the way in different ages, right? So that's the process of this. What makes this special is I infuse it with fresh garlic. Now, if you don't have Manzanilla sherry, if you can't find it, I don't want you to be discouraged, and I don't want you to not try this just because you can't get the sherry. But if you have to use something else, use a good dry vermouth. I love Dolan. This is the Dolan Blanc. I use that a lot. But the Dolan Dry is a green label, so it's not as sweet. That's a perfect sherry that you can, it's a perfect vermouth that you can infuse into with the garlic. So to do the infusion, we're going to take an infusion jar, and it doesn't matter what size, right? I'm going to give this a little rinse because every new jar, make sure it doesn't have any kind of stale flavors or scents in there. And then I'm going to take, you can buy peeled whole garlic, which works well. You don't have to chop it up because this is so strong. You're not trying to create too strong of a garlic. And normally I would let an infusion sit for 7 to 10 days. This will be good in 3 and 5, okay? So let's fill this with garlic. We'll go up about 3/4 of the way. And listen, sherry can go bad quickly, right? So we are going to stick this in the fridge. So we're going to fill that all the way to the top. And like I said, you never have to worry about proportions or cups or measuring. What you always want to do is whatever size jar you take, you fill it 3/4 of the way, and then you with the ingredient, and then you top it off with the alcohol. So that's your garlic infusion. You take this, you put it aside, put it in the refrigerator. Should be perfect in between 3 to 5 days. Okay. Now let's build the martini. Okay. I happen to already have a Manzanilla sherry infusion. I use regular garlic, and I also have roasted heirloom garlic. So I actually took garlic, roasted in the oven at 350 for about an hour, and it's just that it's a really incredible mixture of flavors. So we're going to do a whole ounce of the garlic infused sherry. And then I love, every dirty martini, right, has to have olive juice. I love using the Kalamata olives. The Kalamata are those purple olives. I love it for the color. It's a different savory flavor. So it's going to add a different look to the martini, right? We're going to do 1 ounce of the Kalamata olive juice. And then listen, you could use gin or vodka for this. I'm actually going to use vodka because I happen to love this vodka. It's called Castra e Leon. It's a Greek vodka. It's made in Greece from green olives and grain. So it has a little brininess, a little velvety mouthfeel and smoothness and silkiness to it. So I'm going to actually put 3 ounces of that. So it's 3 ounces of alcohol, 1 ounce of the garlic infused sherry, and 1 ounce of the Kalamata or olive juice. So if you don't have Kalamata olives, even though I know you could probably find them in any supermarket, just use whatever olive. But I can't stress enough the savoriness of that and how great it is. So 2 ounces of vodka. This is a jigger that has 2 and a 1. So I'm going to do 2 on top and 1 on the bottom. Okay, so before we stir this, we're going to do one of the most important elements of a dirty martini is the olives. Now, how many times did I hear, do you have any blue cheese stuffed olives? Do you have any blue cheese stuffed olives? Give me 2 blue cheese stuffed olives with that. But because this has got that Greek theme to it, I love using feta cheese. So we're going to actually I'm going to show you just a really simple way how to hand stuff your olives with feta cheese. Okay, so I like to do that first. So we'll take a nice piece of feta here. I like to keep it out for 2 hours so it starts to soften. So another way to make it soften and mush is I'll squish that up for a second. And then I'll put a little bit of olive oil, because what I'm trying to do is just soften it and make it kind of juicy and soft so that I can stuff the olive with it. And we'll put a little bit of pepper on there. And let's just mix that around. Let's get it nice and soft. Yeah, see how it starts to get kind of soft, and it's almost like a little, I wouldn't say liquidy, but it's starting to look like you can see what I can do. It's not hard anymore. So now that's the perfect consistency. I'm going to use 2 olives here, but now I get to stuff myself with my feta in there. We'll put that in there. And that's 1. And we'll see what's great is don't worry about the feta kind of on the outside, because that's going to actually add flavor to your cocktail as you're drinking it, because you're not going to drink it that quickly. So these flavors that are stuck in there, they're going to be adding to the cocktail, which is awesome. Now we'll put this in here. All right, so there you go. Okay, the olives are there. They're going to be incredible. Now we're ready to stir this. We're going to use a nice big ice cube. I love using big ice. So for the most part, because the surface area is so large, it will keep the drink cold but not make it too watery. So what I do is you can make a mold of these. There's a lot of companies that sell them now, maybe not in your town, but if you can make a mold, it's great, because the whole point of this is I can't put this whole cube in and stir it. So what you do is I take the back of a spoon and I just crack it. There you go. I'm looking for some big chunks. Perfect. All right, so we've got those big chunks in there. And now the whole point now is those big pieces are not going to make it too watery, but it's going to make it nice and cold. And I like to use a bar spoon. If you're not proficient with a bar spoon, I'll tell you, you could use a silver straw, a chopstick. This is the back of a silver spoon. And this actually works really well. You actually can turn this pretty quickly. Where I love using tin like this, you can see the condensation that I have that's forming there, right? And I'll turn this around and give it a quick taste. Yeah. You have the garlic, you have the wine, you have the olive. It's like a gourmet dirty martini, and you haven't really done anything too dramatic, right? Wow, is that delicious. It's going to have some nice kind of purple colors to it, which is what I love, because that's from the Kalamata olive. So that's another reason why I love using the Kalamata. And now what makes so great is I'm going to put some crushed red pepper on it and some oregano, some fresh. So what this actually tastes like when we start putting it all together, it's almost going to taste like a liquid pepperoni pizza. So we'll put these little things in here. All I do is you get some nice, almost like you're putting those on your little pepperoni pizza. And then I've got some fresh oregano here, right? So it could be any, there's so many different kinds of oregano. And I do have a video on different kinds of oreganos. So, and what I do is I sprinkle that on top. And then look at, this is a spoon that you use for absinthe, but it's a great little serving spoon because the whole point of that is what I want to do is, I love the elegance of it. There's something that has a kind of ancient Rome, Greek look to it, but then I can use this to scoop my olives out. So let's give that a little sip. I mean, I already tried it before that, but look at the color. I just love the color. And another reason, without shaking it, it's not frothy, right? It's all beautiful and one color. Oh, that to me, I mean, that to me is the perfect martini. So, again, this is called the Dirty Sicilian. I don't think you need to alter it. I think this is all something very easy you can find at home. Cheers. Wow. Delicious.